I remember the first time that I ever saw Jeff Filipovitz and his significant other, Zon Valines.
Please stand up, Zon. God really got there.
I was at a church sanctuary, of all places, with Sherry Jenkins Tucker, and we were invited to a neighborhood meeting. We had never been invited to a neighborhood meeting before. The neighbors made it very clear they did not want us at their meeting, but we went, and they invited Sherry to speak about the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network and in the Peer Support and Wellness Center, which she did very well, as she usually does, and she sat down, and then it became very clear to us why we were at that meeting. The neighbors did not want the Peer Support and Wellness Center in their neighborhood. They were using such terms as "those people," and Sherry pointed that out and said that she was also blindsided by this meeting. And the neighbors got kind of heated after that, and they said, "We never heard any such language, not at this meeting. We didn't hear it." And then all of a sudden we heard, "I heard it," and another voice, "I heard it too." And we looked behind us, and sitting at the back of the church were two neighbors who were also blindsided by the meeting, Jeff Filipovitz and Zon Valines. And the discussion got even more heated, and in the middle of the discussion we learned that Jeff Filipovitz was a lawyer, and and Sherry wrote "help us" on the back of a business card and handed it to Jeff. And that's exactly what he did. For months and months and months, he took time out of his own time, pro bono, and made sure that the Peer Support and Wellness Center would stay in the neighborhood. And of course, I don't know how we could ever properly thank Jeff Filipovitz and Telly Wells, but for now, I would like to present this award, the Randall Baxter Humanitarian Award of the Year, to Jeff Filipovitz. Thank you. For sure. And we love Tally Wells too. We have been very fortunate at the Peer Support and Wellness Center to have so many wonderful friends in Decatur, really across the state, but particularly in Decatur for this battle. And the Legal Aid of Atlanta has been one of our long-standing friends, the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network's long-standing friends, and a friend to the Peer Support and Wellness Center. And Tally Wells was good enough to advocate with the powers that be at his organization to assure that in addition to having Jeff represent the network as an entity with regard to the Peer Support and Wellness Center, Tally represented the individual person, the CPS, who lived at the center and worked for the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network, but had the center as her residence. And Tally defended her valiantly at the hearings and the fight that we had with the city and the neighbors and et al. And between Jeff and Tally, they slew the giant, and we think that they are the giants. So.
We are not trying to close the center down. Here is a criteria by which the center could operate legally. The center can serve a maximum of 6 people overnight and in counseling sessions. It must obtain a city permit and a state license. In your packet is a list of the supporters of this appeal and supporters of a family personal care home in Decatur Heights under these terms. And at this time, I would like everyone here that is here to support the appeal to raise your hands. Are we actually saying that just because they are treating mentally disabled, that any home could open up in any neighborhood and have an unlimited number of people come and take classes, have crisis therapy sessions there?
Well, as I read the Fair Housing Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act, unless you've got some proof or evidence that the fact that these people are coming to this home in the neighborhood has somehow substantially and fundamentally altered the character of the neighborhood as a single-family residential, that there's not much we can do.
I want to let everybody know exactly where I stand. I live at 440 Sycamore Drive. We're in a house directly in front of the wellness house. I'll stand up here and let everyone know.
What is your name, sir?
Lawrence Sanzak. Okay, I'm a recovering drug addict, so I don't have issues with people getting help. I've been clean for about 6 years, and also grew up with a mentally retarded uncle, and he was never marginalized in our family. My issue is that they're horrible, horrible neighbors. I have been panhandled off my front porch, found people sleeping in the front yard, had their clients yelling and screaming through my windows for hours and hours. There was one particular lady. You could hear the lady a block down the road. Neighbors were going, "What's the commotion?" And yet, none of the staff members, none of the peers for 2 or 3 hours came out.
You need to direct your comments to us, okay?
I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous about the public speaking. We grew up with my son, and this happens to some degree or another every single day.
Have you called the police?
No, because that's the way to, when you start calling the police, you know, obviously, like the lady that was yelling in my windows, you could see obviously she had issues, so I don't blame her. However, when it went on for 2 or 3 hours, and nobody came to check on her or to do anything about it, I put that squarely on the people that are supposed to be running this house, and they're supposed to be looking over, you know, looking out for this lady.
All right, but you haven't made any. Have you made any effort to talk to the person who's in charge of the home itself?
No, because it would appear that like I don't even know who's in charge. I have went. There was another problem with like their lawn guy, and I wanted to find out who do I talk to. Nobody seemed to know. They weren't very open. We've been there a little over 2 years. For the first 5 months, we couldn't even, you know, we weren't even sure what was going on. There were so many different activities down there, and it's a quality of life issue for me and my son and the people in our building.
The fact of the matter here is that this place has been here for 2 years, and 2 years later, after they've established themselves, after they've got a wonderful community going that you'll hear about from people here, after they've received recognition from across the country, they've built a really successful program, and now 2 years later, we're standing here trying to decide whether they're allowed to be there. Any complaint the neighbors have had, they've gone to Sherry Jenkins Tucker, the director of the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Networks. She's responded. She went to one of their neighborhood meetings and they kicked her out. She went to a second one and answered all of their questions. When residents complained, there was a admittedly valid complaint about buses dropping off people at the center. When they got those complaints, they stopped that service. Now, here, this was prepared by one of the neighbors. These are the apartments in this neighborhood. When you walk from the MARTA station to the Peer Support and Wellness Center, you pass 15 condominiums, group of 4 apartments, 15 condominiums. When you get to the Wellness Center, it's surrounded by a group of 16 apartments. Now, I don't know why the Wellness Center is being blamed for all of this flack, because if this is R60 zoning, that's more than 7 families per acre, and that's a non-conforming use, and it's one that no one else cares about. Why do we care about this one then?
Okay, there having been a motion made that we affirm the decision of the zoning administrator to allow the use of 444 Sycamore Drive that's been described in the record. That motion having been seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. No. Chair votes aye.
the appeal is denied.